afternoon. Today is Thursday, November 19th. It is 5 p.m. It's a Cable Communication Advisory Board meeting. First item on the agenda is a public notice committed conduct meeting by teleconference. We do not have anybody calling in, so we'll move right on to item number 2. Item number 2 is last meeting we had a resignation from Mary Ellen Shaughness, and she was the vice president. So we need to refill that position, and so I would entertain a motion for anyone who would be interested. And I heard that my neighbor to the left, Mr. Visser, might be interested in that. If somebody offered a nomination for Seth Visser as vice president, it might pass. Leonard, you offer that motion? I think I heard that.
So moved.
Awesome. Do we have a second?
Second
We
it.
have a motion and a second. We have to ask this 3 times, so any other nominations? Any other nominations? All right, nominations closed. All those in favor for Seth Visser as vice president, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Let's move on to item number 3, the approval of the minutes. This is all the way back to July 16th, 2020. I'd entertain a motion to approve our advisory board minutes.
I'll make a motion to
We have a
approve.
motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second by Vicky. Any corrections, any changes, any additions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4.1, new CAD activities. Mr. Sherman, take the
Right,
lead.
So, in front of you, you have activity reports for July, August, and September, and October. We're going to be talking about programming a lot later, so we'll kind of save some of that. But one thing that we did do throughout that period was work with the League of Women Voters for the election forums, which the first one had a couple of hiccups, but after that we picked it up, and I think those went really well, and we got a lot of airtime and views on that, so I know that's important content. Any other questions about the report?
I don't have anybody
No.
else have questions?
I don't have anything at this time.
Okay, then I would go ahead and entertain a motion to approve the staff report,
I move
our activity report.
to approve the activity report.
Vicky's making that motion?
I'll second.
Okay. A motion and a second to accept the activity report. And any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5.1, the lease with the New Ulm Library. Mr. Sherman.
All right, so at the last meeting, we approved the extension of the lease, and since then, the city attorney has drafted the lease, so that is in front of you. I don't have any issues or problems, and I'd be willing to sign this if you approve that.
Has anything changed from the last lease?
There was a couple of additional items. The last, just a couple of the wordings. It wasn't majorly different in any way.
So,
And the financial part did not change either?
Nope. I think there was just some clarifications about making sure that we're separate entities and that we're not financially
okay.
entwined.
And we're not growing, there was in the past some time talking about moving, finding something larger, more space, but we've really not grown much since then, and because we were kind of growing fast for a while, and then we kind of slowed down, and
Yeah, I think we've kind of figured out our happy medium spot
Yeah, that we're-
here. And
so you're
And-
still comfortable with this space.
I'm
and
really happy with our relationship with the library, and,
Yeah.
and the space I think really works for us.
I think
so.
it does too.
But you are adding another little space in the basement or not?
We're not adding any space, but yeah, we've been updating some of the equipment, so it'll be a little bit nicer.
So I would entertain a motion to allow Mr. Sherman to sign this rental agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve the signing.
Okay, and a second,
I'll second
and Vicky does a second. Any other questions, concerns? Leonard, any concerns? No, you're down there quite a bit, or used to be, right?
Was at one time, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, not hearing anything else, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. And moving on to our last meeting back in July, there was some talk on our panel about programming and what do other local cable companies have for programming? And so I just asked staff to say, can you put something together and let's just talk a little bit about that? And are we missing anything major that we should be going after? Are we kind of doing what everybody else is doing? And Mr. Sherman is here to give us a report on that.
Sure. So I looked at a list of cities that are comparable in Minnesota to our size, and I just kind of researched to see what they provide in terms of cable access programming. I found maybe about 4 where we really got a lot of information from. So we're going to look at what those 4 do.
Okay.
It was kind of surprising. Overall, a lot of them do very minimal programming. City council meetings, some school sports, church services, and some school concerts. Typically, they only air programming kind of a few programs a day, and then it's a lot of the bulletin board, which we do for a few minutes in between each program, but not as like lengthy. That was Worthington. Marshall is pretty similar. They actually have 2 channels. One channel is specifically for sports, and I think that's kind of run through their college. The more public access channel is once again mostly council meetings, church services. But they also had 2 talk shows that I thought were kind of interesting. One called Senior Compass, and that was a local senior focused talk show. And another one, the Chamber Community Connect, and that was a talk show that they had with the...
So the Senior Compass, were they like just interviewing?
They would usually, I went through and looked at a few episodes. They would bring in like an expert from a different field to talk about senior issues.
Oh, okay. So not like highlighting a senior citizen or more?
Not necessarily that, but that may have been part of it. I didn't extensively watch the episodes, but
I kind of like
that could
yeah.
be part of it in a potential program. St. Peter, they do a few original programs. They have something called Drawing with Mark, which I'm assuming is a drawing show. And a show called Get Fit, so I'm assuming it's another, like a fitness type of show. But once again, mostly council meetings and church services. I would say the other station that was most comparable to us in terms of just the level of programming and that they're doing throughout the day and original programs is Hutchinson. So they also do the city meetings. They have a separate channel where they put a lot of their religious programming, so that's kind of gives a little bit more free time to other content. They have a show called LibriVox, which is public domain audiobook series, which I thought that was kind of interesting. A veterans outreach talk show. In the Garden, which is something to do with the Master Gardeners. They have somebody from them
We've got the master.
giving, assuming, tips and tricks on gardening. Meet the Author, which is sort of similar to what we do with the library when they have author presentations or with the Historic Society. And then they have an arts events talk show, which looked kind of similar to our Something Artsy, which we'll be talking about later. Another chamber program, story time, some historic programming, public domain film and TV, and a Polka Spotlights, which I remember I looked into at one point. It was like a membership. You have to pay for the content, so I think at that point I passed, but it's something we could look into if people are interested, which...
Polka Spotlight would go pretty popular here, wouldn't it?
Some people would like that.
They would like that,
They still like bandwagon.
We get a lot of that with our Lenny's classic videos.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to
Boy, some of those are, they go back about 30 some
they
years.
do. 80s, 90s, the videotapes, they're kind of...
But they're still pretty popular, though. aren't they,
Yes.
Leonard?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I'm sure...
How did he acquire all those?
That's Lenny's secrets. But I'm sure, I think he talked with different organizations and people and got all the tapes and everything and did all that work. So, yeah. So that is what I kind of found out about other channels. There were a few other cities that had similar sizes, but they were part of like larger organization. Some cities will combine into like a 4 or 5 city cable access channel, so they have much larger resources.
What about, we used to have the cooking shows, and they were very popular. But
Yes.
nobody, you didn't see anybody who had those, huh?
Not a lot of cooking shows. I think Hutchinson may have had a cooking show,
Okay.
but otherwise not a ton of that. It's been something I've been trying to get back on our channel for a while now, and it's just
'Cause we got some good chefs in this
We
town.
do.
the tricky part is finding a chef who wants to be on camera.
Yeah.
So a lot of them are, very camera shy people around New Ulm for some reason.
They promote their restaurant, would they be more willing to do it?
If filming at the restaurant.
Yeah.
We have done some programming where we've gone into restaurants and bars, and they've been doing a cocktail hour, like
Yep.
them showing a cocktail. I think you were on an
I was
episode.
on one of them. Yes, I was. Yes.
So-
We're popular, yeah.
Oh, and they're a lot of fun because you get your local people to participate, and you also get to see what different restaurants are out there and what things they're doing. And a lot of these people that we went and talked to had specialty foods too. So I really think that was a very popular, or even just
Yeah, I can see
something that
that.
was fun for other people. It's different. So
Yeah, it was a good way to not have putting the chef or the bartender in that case too much in the central limelight, so they weren't too afraid. They were just part of it versus, you having the host and the guest come in and talk with them. And it's less of a commitment just being one episode where they can kind of maybe do it again in the future.
It was
So
very
that's something.
laid back. So, we really didn't have a script or anything. We just went there and they told us what we were going to do, and we kind of talked. And it was nice. It was very laid back. And
Can you
pull up the
just like a
Hutchinson one
little
again?
Conversation.
Oh, sure.
So what would be your vision, Steve, about, if this advisory board decides that, hey, we'd like to see you expand or work on getting 1 or 2 of these worked into our world, how does that work for you?
There was a few of these shows that I thought seemed really interesting, and as long as the content isn't too hyper specific to the community in which it's airing,
Right.
I could ask them to give me those episodes, and if they're, I could trade them one of our shows.
Oh, really? You could do that? Okay. Oh, because I'm visioning you having to do production and build something.
My goal is I love producing things, but, that just takes a lot of time and effort.
Exactly.
So,
That's where I'm.
finding ways to get programming like that is always that's doing this exercise really kind of I think was a good experience.
I also see that veterans outreach thing being a very popular thing in our community.
And I would like to look into seeing if there's an organization in town to partner with that and help to produce.
I wouldn't, I can't speak for anybody, but we got 2 veterans officers that are phenomenal, but I know they're crazy busy.
Yeah.
But I know Greg loves the media and likes doing stuff like that. So either he might be willing to do it, or maybe he knows some veterans that might be willing to help with it. Mr. Mayor.
I received an email, that New Ulm is one of the biggest communities for veterans.
Oh.
Buy homes to
Oh,
move
wow.
into. So, maybe there is something about veterans that.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think even just having a talk show where you can bring up different important issues or programs or opportunities, different or ways to get to know different people in the community and let them.
I'd be willing to speak to Mr. Peterson, since he's a fellow county employee, and bring that information back to you if there's any interest in doing something like.
Sure, and I don't want to forget all the work that Tom Grubner had done in terms of throughout the years producing. He would sit down and talk with different veterans from different wars, and that was a pretty, I think, well done series.
Sure.
So that's something we do have in our catalog. It's not something we've had anything new for in a couple of years, 2 or 3 years since we've been doing that, but it's something we do have in our library.
Yeah, and maybe he's got a couple other ideas that we're not aware of. What's some of the benefits that the veterans are eligible for, and that might, that might be a little, you have to be careful with that because it becomes dated.
Yeah.
As soon as the rule
So,
changes or something.
You kind of have to make a choice on whether or not you want to create content that is going to be have a long shelf life, or just be like
Yeah.
more of a magazine series where each month you have your new episode and then it kind of goes in the trash. So
Did you see any of their episodes, or kind of what script they followed and what topics they covered?
I just watched, a minute or two. I didn't go too in depth, but it looked like a pretty simple talk show setting, one host, one guest, and I could go in and research that a little bit more and see what it was exactly. And maybe, it's not too specific to Hutchinson, and it could be something that we could share here, but, or, just at the very least kind of see if we like that format. And
Did they ever go on the scene places? I mean, like, we've got so many festivals and just little happenings.
do we, or do
Well,
they?
I'm talking about other communities.
Yeah, some communities do a lot more of on the scene work. Some do more in the studio, but
No
yeah.
parade of lights, though, next week, huh?
No parade of lights.
Well, Charlotte's Web.
Um,
Sorry, State
all right.
Street.
But I was going to kind of give you I'm not sure if everyone watches the channel, but I wanted to kind of give you a basis for the types of programming that we are working on currently. I won't go too long or in depth, but some of our popular shows are Concertina Styles and Smiles with Smiley Wilczek. He does interviews different concertina players, and they play music in between interviews. It's a talk show, 30 minutes long, and it's been probably one of our longest running programs. He comes in maybe once or twice a year, and he has 3 or 4 episodes he wants to film, and then we knock him out, and then we kind of keep it going. So
Great.
Cool.
something artsy. Carolyn's not here, but she's our producer for that program with State Street Theater, and that's another one of our longer running programs. It's a talk show. And this one is one of those more shorter term, like lifespan
Yeah,
programs,
I
because it's
suppose.
all about what's going on that month. So, but it's I think a lot of people have been on that show over the course of that time. But the New Ulm Forum, and that's a community affairs talk show produced by the League of Women Voters, and they trade hosting duties, and then they invite different organizations in that are doing interesting things in the community. Living United is focused on the United Way and their partnerships. Off the Shelves is a music series we produce at the Bookshelves and Coffee Cups. We've been doing that. We didn't get to do any this year, unfortunately, due to COVID, but we've had about 27 episodes so far. And it's one of my favorite things to do is, find, there's so much amazing music talent in the area.
It is,
So
absolutely.
being able to capture that and share that as interstitial content is a lot of fun. The Process is an educational arts instructional documentary series hosted by Jason Jasperson, Emmy nominated.
Okay.
9 episodes so far. It takes a little more time to produce this series. We've got a couple on the that we're working on right now. And this is a new program. Don't forget to read the instructions. We're collaborating with New Ulm Public Library and Red Dragon Gaming, and they just kind of show new board games and how to play them. So we kind of have this top-down view. The library staff is there telling people how to play, and then they kind of go through a session of it. And then this is the virtual happy hour that we're talking about. So those are more interstitial content. We're always looking for programs of different lengths, because our programming can be a bit weird in terms of, a city council meeting might be an hour and 20 minutes, so we have like a 10-minute gap to fill. So it's nice to have shorter stuff. And then here's our other regular content, such as boards and commissions, church services, local concerts, and presentations from other organizations.
So we're really doing a whole lot more than other people are.
I think so. Yeah, I was really surprised.
That's why I didn't know. I just didn't know if we were on the far end or the short end or.
This is content that I've acquired from other organizations.
Okay.
Another fishing show, Minnesota gardening, Beyond Today, Time of Grace, religious-based programming, Lenny's classic videos. I do play some public domain movies and TV shows. especially during like the holidays or Halloween. I might play something spooky or a Christmas movie. And then we have Democracy Now!, which is a daily news program for cable access TV. So these are my other ideas as I was kind of putting this list together. I think we talked about doing a senior series, potentially a health fitness series. When COVID started, I know that the Park and Recreation program coordinator, she had put together some exercise videos, but it'd be kind of fun to kind of go a little bit further with that and make it a little bit more complex. And since everyone else has a chamber series, I thought maybe we could try to get Michael to show up on a show. I think he would probably.
He likes media.
Yeah. He has come to me with some ideas, but it's just about finding the time and
Sure.
the right idea. And then working with the school to maybe get more videos of those concerts and potentially games if they're filmed. We can't really commit to doing too much of that since there's just so much happening at the schools, but
Right.
You still do training for,
We-
if somebody would want to videotape for you
Mhm.
and maybe come and get the equipment and videotape.
Absolutely.
them.
I mean, if someone's serious about using the equipment to film content for the channel, that's really something I'd be excited to train someone for. So
I have a newscast for you.
awesome.
He normally volunteers with my 8th graders, and we put together a newscast for it's called Nums News. And this year with COVID, he couldn't come into the building, but I used a lot of the stuff that we've been using, and we put something together for him.
Great.
And I'd love for that to be on too.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely send that our way.
And find some friends that'll want to do it too.
I was like, yes.
Yeah.
We
Well,
try and get some of those kids excited about videoing so that maybe, we
Yeah, and that's something we've
could
been
help
doing
out.
for years, and I've definitely have seen a handful of students over the course of our time, doing that class,
Yeah.
who I thought maybe in the future would want to participate and create content. So
Okay.
yeah,
Looks like your ideas are similar to what we were talking about too, so.
okay.
You want to focus on, what would you, with COVID and stuff, is there, what pops out to you as maybe a starting point?
Maybe working with the chamber right now would be a good place to start. And, checking in with Park and Rec and seeing what kind of ideas they have for fitness videos and trying to
Sure.
collaborate a little bit more on that. I think those are two pretty realistic ideas. Maybe adding another talk show might be something I want to wait until we,
And that could be that senior one potentially.
a senior talk show or a veterans talk show. I think I'm a little hesitant about getting too many more talk shows. If you saw our list, that's a lot of our programming, and I'm worried people turn it on to see two people sitting down talking, and it's just like, oh, it's more of that. So finding ways to make the programs a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, I like the fitness one that you've got there too, because when COVID kind of hit, a lot of people did fitness via Zoom or Facebook and things like that, and they were able to stay in their home when these places weren't open, and it's going to be rough for a little while for some of that too.
Yeah, we're back to closed gyms, so it's definitely would be an important thing to have.
Those are ones you potentially could buy or trade too, right?
Yeah, there might be other stations that would have
Yeah, I would
content
think
like
so.
that I could
Yep.
ask. I could contact St. Peter. They're not too far away, and see what that Get Fit show looks like, and see if it's worth airing in New Ulm.
So would it make sense to leave this as just a regular agenda item that we talk about each month or each time we meet, right?
Sure. Yeah, that would be a good idea. I think
Okay.
maybe not the full laydown of every program we do, but I think it'd be a good idea to kind of see, hey, what new ideas do we have going
Yeah.
on? Is there anything that you think you might want to start working
We can
on?
check progress kind of if you pick one of those to start on, where that's at and how that's going.
Sounds good. Yeah, I like that.
Now, I do know a couple of the fitness places do put out Facebook things.
Uh-huh.
So you might ask them and say, hey, would you like another place to air some of the things that you are doing?
Sure. I mean,
So,
my one hesitation is trying to avoid too much of a advertising
Exactly.
So
yeah.
it would just need to make sure that they definitely can, have their name on it and, a way to contact them, but it can't have like a sales pitch in it. So
Yep.
we definitely want to look at it, and that's a good idea. I'll check around.
Is there some way that you know what the people that are viewing New Cat, you have an idea of?
Unfortunately, not really.
Oh,
There's
so-
not a lot of, feedback.
Yeah, and there's no
built
way
into
to
the
monitor.
cable system. So when we do put things on YouTube, that's where we were able to kind of engage our feedback a little bit more. So we can kind of even see when people are watching a program, how long they watch it, who's watching it, where they're from. So, I mean, a little bit, but I think a majority of our viewers here in town are watching at home on the cable channel. So it's not a full picture.
Okay.
Great. All right, we don't have any action item here, so this is basically what's discussion, and very good discussion, so thanks to all of you. Item 6.2 is a meeting time suggested change. We've been meeting at 5 o'clock, and that was pretty much for one prior commission member who couldn't get here before 5 o'clock. That person's no longer on here, so we thought it would be worth putting on here to see what 4:30 would look like for folks. That's when most of the other meetings happen, but we can leave it at 5, we can leave it at, or go to 4:30. We just wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, I'd be in favor at 4:30.
4:30?
4:30 is fine.
You're okay with 4:30? Okay. I don't know if we need a motion on that. Let me
I
look.
move to make our meetings 4:30.
Okay.
And then I will second.
So we have a motion, and a second, to move it to 4:30. Effective, our next meeting is January
17th?
17th?
21st.
21st. All right, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. So board member comments, we have, and I should have started out this way, we should be welcoming Seth Visser to his very first,
Oh, second.
second meeting.
Yep.
Oh, that's right, okay. And Leonard, you have been on our board for how long?
I think 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah,
And Leonard, this will be Leonard's last meeting.
yes.
So thank you for your time
Yeah.
on this cable board. We really appreciated getting to know you,
Well,
and you've helped move this franchise forward, so thank you. And I hope you'll keep watching, and if you
Oh,
have
yes.
advice for us, give us a call.
I certainly will keep you in the loop.
Great,
Well, thank you for your service
yes.
very much.
And then I think, let's see, yeah, that's what we have for changes on our board. So we are to be looking for one more member, right?
Yep. If anyone has anybody that they think might be a good fit, send me their name and contact info.
Call Mr. Sherman or call the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Mayor will direct the call too. Any other comments from other board members about anything cable-wise?
I'm good.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everybody.